The revelation of the revelation. The four Gospels explained by their writers by Jean-Baptiste Roustaing, 1881. Source: www.tinyurl.com/the4gospels. Jesus came to fulfill the law. Matthew, chapter 5, verses 17 to 19. And Luke, chapter 16, verse 17.
Matthew, think not that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I came not to destroy, but to complete. For verily I say unto you that until heaven and earth pass away, one iota or one dot shall not pass from the law until all things be fulfilled. Therefore if any one shall annul the least of these commandments, and shall teach men thus, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of the heavens, but whoever shall do and teach them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of the heavens. Luke. And it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away, than for one dot of the law to fail.
Section 77. Jesus speaks of the law, and not of the additions which have been made to it, or the traditions which have been substituted for it, human maxims, commandments, and doctrines, which men have established as the result of their interpretations, which have changed or falsified the sense and application of the law. When Christ said that he was not come to destroy the law but to complete it, he showed men that the morality which he preached was the same as that which had been previously taught by the messengers of the Lord, whether missionary spirits or prophets, but that everything must follow the natural course of progress. The law which had been given to men before was proportioned to their development. It included the promise of the future, and Jesus came to complete it. He himself, while fulfilling the prophecies, pronounced others for future ages, which he is still about to accomplish by means of the promised Comforter, the Spirit of Truth. The spirits of the Lord come to bring men the new revelation, which you may call the revelation of the revelation. They come to enlighten and to develop the intelligence, and to purify the hearts of men in the crucible of science, charity, and love. They say, like Jesus, do not think that we are come to destroy the law and the prophets. Nothing of the law can pass away, for the law is universal love, which must continue to increase until it has brought you to the eternal throne of your Father. We come to repeat, to explain, and help you to comprehend in spirit, and in truth the sublime and simple moral doctrine of the Master, the secret teachings which he delivered to men, and the obscure prophecies which he pronounced during his earthly mission. We are not come to destroy the law, but to accomplish it, by freeing the law of Christ from the additions which have been made to it, the traditions which have been substituted for it, and the doctrines based on human interpretations which have changed or falsified its meaning and application. We come to restore the whole truth of the law, to establish unity of belief in the world, and to guide you all, apart from the various external religions which now divide and separate you, to fraternity by practicing mutual justice, love and charity, according to material, moral and intellectual order. Spiritism is the confirmation of Christianity, not as men have made and established it, but as Jesus instituted it, by his gospel teaching being properly understood and practiced in spirit and in truth. What is the Christianity of Jesus, if it is not the universal religion which should enfold all men in the same circle of love and charity? Not an iota of the law shall pass away without being fulfilled, for the Hebrew law was the stepping stone to the law of Christ, and we repeat that Spiritism is the confirmation and means of fulfillment of the latter. The law consists entirely in the love of God above all things, and of your neighbor as yourselves, which includes the observance of the Decalogue, and the practice of the law of love, always and everywhere, and towards all. He who shall break one of its least commandments, will be the least in the kingdom of the heavens. That is, after expiation in the errant state, he will be obliged to repair his errors, and to progress by reincarnation upon your earth, or on inferior planets, according to the degree of his guilt. But he who shall do and teach them shall be called great in the kingdom of the heavens. That is, he will raise himself to the superior planets in proportion to his moral advancement and the progress which he has acquired, and will continually advance, through humility, in knowledge, charity and love. He who is appointed to teach, and does not practice what he teaches, is not only guilty of the evil which he has done, but of the evil which he has caused through contradicting his words by his actions. Spiritists, do not act like the chiefs of the ancient synagogues, or like the scribes and Pharisees of your own or former ages, for you would be very guilty, you, who have received light to enlighten your own path, as well as that of your brethren. You, above all others, ought to preach by example, for this is the only preaching which leads to good results. Remember the words of Christ, they lay heavy burdens upon your shoulders, which they will not touch with one of their fingers. If you would walk in the ways of the Lord, and come before him gloriously followed by all whom you have redeemed, begin by taking on your own shoulders the burden which you would impose on others. Show them how to make it light, and you may then induce them to bear their share of it. Imitate the life of Jesus, everything is contained in this. He himself taught all things by example, do you also teach by example, and let your words never be anything but the counterpart of your actions. Spiritists ought above all things to practice the law of love which they preach with holiness and sincerity. If you wish to attract the masses, you must show them the benefit which they may expect. Let your conduct exhibit the submission and love which you feel towards your God, and the practical love and charity which you feel towards your brethren. Never set yourselves up as models, but act as such. Be gentle towards those who reject your teachings. Wait till their eyes are opened, and they are able to bear them. When the oculist removes the thick film which hides the light of day from a blind man, does he let him enjoy the light all at once? Not so, for it would dazzle him, and the brightness of day would be too brilliant for his enfeebled organs, and plunge him back into a deep night from which he would perhaps emerge no more. Thus you should temper the light of truth to the eyes of the mentally blind. Try with prudence to sow the seed in their hearts gradually. It will spring up, and although the fruits which it should produce may not ripen under your eyes, a time will come when your hearers will be profited. Your teachings will return to their thoughts at the hour of material death, the light will illumine the path, and you will have helped them to pass through a crisis which is very trying to matter. Do not dispute with the incredulous, nor take offense at ridicule, be calm and dignified in your faith, and persevering in your good works. Scatter the seed freely, and it will fall on good ground, and spring up there, but cultivate the good soil, that one grain may bring forth 30-fold, another 60-fold, and another 100-fold, for each of those whom you have brought to the faith will also diffuse the faith around him. Thus like the ripe ears, loaded with grain, which are shaken by the wind and scatter their seeds broadcast, the truth will spread, and increase in wholesome fruits. The revelation of the revelation. The Four Gospels explained by their writers by Jean-Baptiste Roustaing, 1881. Source: www.tinyurl.com/the4gospels.